Very pleased to be joined by Michael McKenry. We're going to be talking about tonight's game that you can see at 7 o'clock, 2013. It's April 14th. The Pirates are looking for a sweep of the Cincinnati Reds. And, Michael, before I start there, I want to ask you, 2011, 2012, that Pirates team had almost gotten over the hump, but then had terrible second halves. And fans are hoping that you're going to get over 500 and compete for a playoff spot. What was sort of the mentality early on in that 2013 season?
I think 11 and 12, Kinger, was more of building that foundation and building it so firmly that we could actually grow from it. And then 2012, you felt like a little bit of shift. The talent was a little bit better. The depth got a little bit better. The pitching fell off at the end with some injuries. But then it was combated going into 13, bringing in Russell Martin, a veteran, a guy that played in the playoffs, a guy that could kind of lead that staff along with me. It was just a big difference maker. I mean, I always say Barajas started it and Martin finished it as kind of the team leader. But one thing about that 13 team is we had a group of leaders. It wasn't one guy that really stood up. AJ led the staff. Russell Martin kind of led from afar and kind of oversaw everything. You had Grilly in the bullpen with the Shark Tank, and then you had Barmas in the infield. So you had a group of guys kind of creating a wolf pack of sorts that made that team have a different type of culture than 11 and 12. I mean, the culture and the camaraderie in 11 and 12 were outstanding, but in 13, it was just a little bit different.
You mentioned Russell Martin. In 11 and 12, you split some time with Rod Barajas. 12, you had a really good season, 12 home runs. You slugged .442. Now, all of a sudden, you have to start dealing with playing less under Russell Martin, with Russell Martin being the everyday catcher. What was that like for you? What kind of an adjustment was that?
It was tough because I went into the offseason, kind of having the rights to that job and being able to split time with somebody. That was the plan going into it. But you see a guy like Russell Martin on the free agent market, you go get him. So they brought him in, and luckily he was a guy that kind of let me lead first. He wanted to ask questions. Hey, what does this guy have? What's his mentality? What's his personality? How do you attack Votto? How do you do this? How do you do that? He was a learner first. And when you have a guy that's been around the league that long with that much experience and that much talent, asking you those types of questions, we had an instant bond. And I felt like our relationship grew. So it made it easy as a human being, not just a player, to say, man, this is special. And I always said I wanted to try to embrace the role I was in, whether it was starting, whether it was playing. But that, 4 or 5 days in between, I tried to get ready for that one game I had and tried to win.
Well, this game you had, your team falls behind. I don't know how well you remember the game, but you fell behind 5-0 early on. Matt Latos on the mound for the Cincinnati Reds. He could be really nasty when he was on. Do you remember any thoughts about this? You guys are looking for a sweep. And, I mean, look, you sweep a 3-game series. You pick up 3 games. You lose that third game. You've only picked up 1 game, a chance to get to 500. What do you remember about the early portions of that game with, by the way, Phil Irwin on the mound, making one of his 2 major league career starts?
Right. And if I'm not mistaken, that was his debut.
Yes, it was.
Had a kind of shaky first inning and then settled in, gave us enough to get it to the bullpen and give us a chance to win. But what I remember most is, day game, I know it's my time. Latos is a guy that owned me in the minor leagues, and he owned me early on in my big league career. So when I saw the lineup and I saw Latos, I said, today's the day. I got to get this guy at some point. He's a little arrogant. He's a little narcissistic. He's a guy that kind of like struts around the mound. He's going to fist pump when he strikes you out. So he's a guy you want to tap. You want to make sure you can absolutely crush him that day. So we get down early. It kind of felt like we were going to lose it a little bit, but we held our ground. We ended up coming back, which was really cool.
Well, you started the comeback in the 7th inning, down 5-0. You had a solo shot out to center field off Latos. What do you remember about that home run?
Those are the homers you don't forget, King. It's the ones that you don't even feel it coming off the bat. It feels like a trampoline off your barrel. But yeah, luckily I was ahead in the count, 2-0, and he tried to just groove a fastball. I mean, I was planning to see that fastball 2-0. I knew that they had the lead. They have a veteran catcher behind the plate. They're going to try to just get one by me. Hopefully I foul it off. And I just tried not to do too much, and they cleared that center field fence.
Well, then you come back the next inning. The Reds pick up a run. You guys pick up a couple more. You're down 6-4. Very next inning, Jonathan Broxton. And, if Pirates fans think about Jonathan Broxton, they might think, this guy wasn't much. He was a terrific pitcher against everybody, it seemed, except the Pirates. I don't know why you guys seem to have so much success against Jonathan Broxton. but you hit a 2-run homer out to left this time to tie the game that you guys eventually wind up winning. What do you remember about that at bat?
I was praying it was going to get far enough. If you watch, I think it was Heisley or the left fielder, he almost falls into the stands trying to catch it. I hit it just out in front. It was a slider. Broxton was known to throw more sliders than fastball. I always felt comfortable off of him, even though he was letting it go from the moon. I think he's 6'8" or 6'9", 7,000 pounds, huge person. So when he's out on the mound, he looks big. So, you just try to pick up that spin and just try to stay on it. He kind of manipulates the speed, caught it out in front, hit it really high, and just kind of started blowing as hard as I could, hoping it would go. Luckily, left fielder did not catch it, and he did not fall in the stands, and we ended up having a tie ball game.
Yeah, you guys wind up winning that game 10-7. And there are games that are important, and I think early on in that season that was important. That was a big win to get the sweep and to come back from 5-0, which doesn't happen very often. Was there a moment, though, in 2013 where you just knew, hey, this is different than those 11 and 12 seasons that we talked about a little bit earlier?
I would say late July, when I felt like we were picking up steam. I had just gotten hurt in Miami, and it felt like we were on a week-long road trip during that time. And it seemed like even when we weren't playing great, we were still hanging in there. And then someone would come up with a big hit, whether it was Kutch, Jay, Russell Martin, Barmas. It was just constantly a different person stepping up. And I felt like that momentum shift was really in that late July and into August. We started playing our best baseball. We all knew, Kutch in June, July, and August was going to get absolutely crazy hot. But it was almost like the whole team started to shift. That guy started throwing better. Liriano got better towards the end of the season. And I felt like we knew at that point we got over that hump. And, you could see it right out in front of us. Man, we just got to get over that hill, We're just winning series and winning another series and winning another series. But on that team, Kinger, I would say if we had a guy that could go 5-6 innings, even the guys that debuted, if we could get the ball to the bullpen, that bullpen was so good. I mean, it didn't matter if Jared Hughes came in the sixth or Tony Watson. If you get the ball to Melanson and then to Grilly, it was game over.
Yeah, it was fun to watch. Those teams were fun to watch. And tonight's game is going to be fun to watch at 7 o'clock. Michael, great catching up with you. See you soon, my friend.
Absolutely. Thank you, Kinger.